Hi, and welcome to the channel where we talk wrestling all the time with Wrestling with JD. Today's video is going to be about why it's a good thing to release talent and how come bringing it back could be a bad thing. If you like wrestling, this is the place to be. Hit that like and subscribe and let's get into it. At the peak of the Monday Night Wars, we had wrestlers being released and coming back to the same company, a different company, all the time. It is what made watching wrestling on Monday nights a must-see adventure. Too many times we would tune in to see Scott Hall and Kevin Nash leave the WWF at that point for the WCW. It spurred on the Monday Night Wars, and from then on, you didn't know who was going from what company to the next company. You followed it, you didn't worry about it, you wondered what that character would do on the next show. I remember watching WCW at the height of Goldberg, and Raven would show up from ECW and be in the crowd. You weren't sure if he was part of ECW or not. Raven's flock came over, and that was a pretty neat faction. They had a feud with Diamond Dallas Page, and then Goldberg beat Raven for the US title. When the new Four Horsemen left WCW and all of a sudden showed up on a pay-per-view at WWF, that was a huge impact. They followed Chris Jericho to the company. It was people going back and forth all the time. It did not drive the ratings down, it drove them up. Stone Cold Steve Austin, for example. He was stunning Steve Austin in WCW, gets released by the company, and the next thing you know, he's the ringmaster and morphs into Stone Cold, and he is the all-time #1 wrestler in the history of wrestling. Everybody knows who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. But he had to be released to let it grow. He wasn't going to become Stone Cold after being stunning Steve Austin. Mick Foley was Cactus Jack in WCW. He was Cactus Jack everywhere. But he had to be released by WCW to find a niche in ECW to finally come into WWF. If he hadn't been released, his popularity might not have grown and he would not be the level he was today. Yes, sometimes releasing a talent can be beneficial. We may not see the benefits of the time, especially at the company. But when Eric Bischoff got rid of Six-Pac, he didn't realize he was going to show up, become part of D-Generation X, and declare war on him. That release backfired. But it also helped X-Pac get a character that he liked, and it benefited the wrestler personally. Sometimes as a fan, we get very invested in a character, not realizing that their release from a company could help that character grow into something even better in another location. We always have our own best interest in mind and not others. We get selfishly involved in our TV. We don't want change, and we don't want to see anything that's really new. R-Truth, as example, gets released from the company. He's got a new attitude, and all of a sudden, that's becoming an issue. We didn't want a heel R-Truth. You wanted R-Truth. Now, if he sold his soul to The Rock, then you're going to get a little bit of an attitude-y R-Truth. Nobody thinks of that possibility. The final boss isn't gone. He's just in the shadows. If you watch my other videos, you know I am a big fan of keeping the final boss around in the shadows and become the heel. There is no real heel in the company right now, and The Rock's music can hit without him being there, cause a distraction, and cost somebody the match. The Rock could have a referee fast count, he could have a referee slow count, and cost somebody the match. He doesn't even have to be there to have his influence felt. I think he's not being utilized enough. He has his name, he has his gimmick, he has all of the legal rights to everything Rock related. If his name is mentioned on TV or if his music is used, it's only going to aid his pockets. Should not be an issue for the Great One. Now shifting gears to how it could be a bad thing to release a talent and bring it back. What you've done now is given a lot of power to an internet community. There is a lot of people that do discuss wrestling online as it's fun. Everybody gets involved. It's a story. It's a real-life drama. It's like the Gossip Girls back in the day when they would talk about their soap operas. There's talk all over about wrestling. When you get gossipy and you discuss wrestling and the dirt sheets come out and you get inside information, then you become more of a marquee fan, a super fan, a smart fan. And those smart fans can cause a movement, cause a change, cause somebody to be rehired. The issue we have there with the rehiring process of a fired superstar is the niche audience you've given power to. They did not have an impact when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash went to WCW. Back then, the fans were upset. They had them off of their TV. They would have screamed and chanted online if it existed back then to bring them back. Let's go. I'm sure they probably called into Livewire and ranted and raved there, but those two found their way to WCW where they could still be watched. And their characters grew, their popularity grew, their stock grew. They became bigger stars because they left that one company. Of course, fans were screaming for them back. Vince McMahon got jealous. And what is the downside to fans' reaction of wanting characters that are gone? You get imposters. Imposter Diesel and Imposter Razor Ramon was a complete and utter failure. It was a joke for the sport of professional wrestling. We all know that it's choreographed. We all know that there's a written story going on. But you don't need to replace known characters with another one like they're actors in a movie. That just takes the whole thing and throws it in the toilet. Please don't test our intelligence when we want to be entertained and suspend belief. We just can't suspend it that far. And now the fans do have the internet. They do have ways to bring back people they missed, and they've used that power to petition our truth. Again, if The Rock is the one that's behind his rehiring process, that's an excellent way to spin a true story into one for TV. Just like I hope they do with CM Punk, John Cena, and The Rock later on, when the real life drama could actually unfold to a really cool event come SummerSlam and Survivor Series. Well, that's it for today. There is an issue going on out there about talent being released and people not being happy with it, not realizing it's all part of the business, it's all part of the show, and without talent being released, they can't help another company grow. Yes, maybe I did intend that to rhyme. Ring the bell, like, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Do you think people are getting too bent out of shape over wrestlers being released? Leave a comment. I'd like to know what you think. God bless. Have a great day.